Hi, everybody. It's Darcyjusten. I'm so glad you're here with me today. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for being with me and supporting me. If you're new here today, I am so excited that you're here, and I hope that you will enjoy what we're talking about today. We are still talking about dating. I have a new little mini series out about mature women dating. And it's not because I'm dating, which is so funny. I'm actually married. Um, and if my husband found out I'm dating, I'm pretty sure it would be a problem. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, since I'm married. Yeah. But anyway, I have friends dating, and it has been a big topic this summer. And so we are dealing with 4 or 5 topics on dating. And if you are in that spot, I hope that you will enjoy it. Maybe you're not, but maybe you do have a friend that is, and you can share with her because people love that. So, actually, today, what we're going to talk about is dating for a woman 50 plus, dating for a mature woman. What does that look like? What does that mean? And actually, it's exciting. And I'll tell you why it's exciting. Because you are in the driver's seat. When I was growing up, and a lot of us did in the 60s and 70s, the culture was very different than it is today. It was kind of like, ooh, wow, so and so asked you out. You better go out with him. And women were kind of expected to be a little bit more on the sidelines and a little bit more appreciative and not really have as much of a say. And today, I love the way that it is totally flipped around. And we get to date midlife, 50s, 60s. I know women in their 70s that are dating. Good for you. Good for you. Because we get to be curious first, and it doesn't matter whether he likes us or doesn't like us. All that matters is whether we want to be with him. We're in the driver's seat. And back in the day, that was a big part of dating back in the 60s. Oh, well, I hope he asks me out, or, oh, I hope. Guess what? You get to decide what's right for you. You get to decide who you want to be with. And the freedom is amazing. It opens up all these doors. It takes a lot of pressure off. And I love it. I love it with my clients. And so we're going to talk about just a few things about dating. A couple of the other topics are dating after divorce and trauma, which is very important to take a look at that. Your first date, what are the things that you do or don't do on your first date? And what's the other one? Oh, how to guard your heart, how to keep your heart from being broken. So those are some of the other topics that we're going to talk about. So anyway, moving along, I love the fact that you can be with someone or not be with someone. It's totally up to you. The pressure of having to be married or having to be in a relationship is off of you. It's off of you if you let it be. So, um, I think probably the most important thing that you might want to think about when you are, if you're in the middle of dating or you're getting ready to date or you have been dating and it hasn't gone well, one of the most important things that you need to think about is, what do you want? What are your expectations? And do you have boundaries? It's really hard to go out there and date if you don't know what you want. Now, this can change if you meet this unbelievable guy and all of a sudden you go from, I don't want to have a serious relationship to, I have a serious relationship. But start out from the very beginning about, what do you want? What do you want? Do you want a serious relationship? Do you just want friendships? And that really should be the driving factor of some of the stuff that you do. If you're not really interested in a serious relationship, that could take you in a different direction. and also whether or not you want to have sex or not have sex. All of those things sort of fall into what do you want, what are you looking for, and what are your expectations. So I've actually had friends out there that just want to date around and have fun. And then if you look at their profile, it says they want to be in a serious relationship. Okay, I'm just saying, those are two different things. So figure out what you want, figure out what you need, and be clear about it. I'm not going to go into online dating because that's like a whole nother topic. And there's lots of good information about online dating and scams and all of that. So if you're doing a lot of that, you may want to do a little research about online dating and scamming and things like that. But setting your expectations is really, really important. And maybe you've never done it before, but you can absolutely do it. Knowing what you want is really important. Boundaries, as you know, I've talked a lot about boundaries. It's a big, hot topic for me. Boundaries are incredibly important. If your boundary is, I don't want to sleep with anybody on the first date, and you're being pushed into that for some reason, let's just say that would be a deal breaker for me. So make sure your boundaries are very clear about what's acceptable to you and what's not acceptable to you. I'll give you another boundary. I don't want to be stood up. I have friends that the guy will stand them up like 2 or 3 times and they still go out with them. That would be a deal breaker for me. That would be a boundary for me. That would fall into the category of respect. You don't respect my time. You don't respect me. And so we're done. There are circumstances out there that obviously could change that. But for the most part, guys, let's face it. That's why we have expectations, what do we want, and boundaries, so we don't fall subject to making excuses for somebody's really shitty behavior. Okay? That doesn't work. And how many times have we all done that? I'm sure he didn't mean to be an hour late. I'm not sure I would give somebody a lot of wiggle room on that. So respect and boundaries and setting expectations, that is really, really, really big on my list. Along with that, if you are looking to be in a relationship, I would highly recommend that you write down 10 things that you're looking for and 10 things that are deal breakers. You can go out on a date and there can be this fantastic chemistry. There's a bottle of wine involved. This guy is handsome and all your stuff is whoop, right out the window. Your boundaries, your expectations. He's very flattering. Oh my gosh, how many times has this happened to us? So it's really important to write down what you want and what you don't want. For instance, I would not want to be in a relationship with a smoker. That would be a deal breaker for me. The first time I caught someone lying about something silly, that would be a deal breaker for me. So your beliefs and your values should tie back into what you want and what's acceptable and what you don't want. And I know it sounds silly to do it before you start dating, but like I said, all it takes is one person to blow your mind, and all of a sudden, all your dreams and all the stuff that you thought you knew that you wanted is whoop, right out the window. Especially if it's some really, really, really charming narcissist, they can charm the pants right off of you. So, FYI, warning, write down what you want. And there are a lot of things that maybe are not big issues. Whether or not he has money is maybe not a big issue, but there are other things that are probably really a big issue for you. Okay, so as far as going on a first date, I think it's really, really important to be prepared. And I know that sounds silly, but Especially if you're new to dating or you haven't really been dating for a long time. It's really important to be prepared. And when I say prepared, I mean, what do you want this person to know about you, right? It's kind of like a job interview, but it's not a job interview. But if you go on a job interview and somebody says, "Tell me about you, Darcy," I can't just go, "Well, I don't know about me." So be prepared to do a little short version of what you want that person to know. Now, leave all your crap in your book bag at home. Leave all your baggage at home. Do not bring baggage to a date. Your ex-husband, your adult child who hasn't called you in 4 months. No, 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 no. Leave all of that at home. But do bring your story, who you are, what's important to you, what you like. Another little tip is you can drop a couple hints if it's someone that you're interested in or you're looking at having a relationship with, and see if they pick up on those, because that means they're probably uber sensitive and that might be important to you. My favorite wine is this. My favorite flower is this. Casually drop in a couple hints. I love Italian food. Wouldn't it be nice if the next date he made was at an Italian restaurant? Somebody was paying attention. That's kind of cool. I like that. Um, Listen more than you talk. Now, if it's a quiet guy, that's a tough one. I realize that. But try to be the one that's asking questions in a casual, curious way. And I have a whole nother topic out there, first date, where I list all these different kinds of questions that you can ask on a first date. But keep it relaxed, keep it fun. A lot of times, the woman can be the one that sets the vibe for the date. So if you're uptight and you're needy and you come from a place of lack and you don't know what to say, you can set the vibe for the entire evening. If you're fun and you're curious and you have lots of fun questions, what are you watching right now? What's your favorite movie? Um, that's going to make that person you're with um, relax and probably feel like this is going to be a good time, whether or not you guys actually end up connecting or not. So don't ask personal questions. Be careful about that. A lot of us women are working and we have to put on our alpha male thing during the day or our masculine energy, and you go out on a date and that just starts coming out. It's not always attractive on a first date, on a first impression. All right, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you you can't be a strong woman, but reel it in a little bit on a first date. Reel it in a little bit when you start meeting people, and be the person that um, can sit back a little bit and want to know more about that person. So don't ask a lot of personal questions. There's a few things that are really taboo. How much they make. Stay away from questions about their family. Have they been married before? These are all things that you want them to tell you when they're ready. Okay? Do not interrogate them. Do not pull out an application they have to fill out. No, 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 no. These are all bad things. Well, actually, I was reading on your background check. Okay, this is where you need to do your work before you go out on a date with this person, and sort of have some idea of what you're looking for. Be so careful. If you are new to dating and you've been alone for a while or you're lonely, and a study just came out that a huge amount of the American population in their 40s and 50s feel alone or feel lonely. I forget the exact number, but it was big. So if that's you, don't go after this person with both hands, okay? Just still stay calm, stay cool, and be extremely careful. Don't fall in love with this job. Don't fall in love with this money. Don't fall in love with this looks. Don't go for the whole fantasy. Wow, this guy seems amazing. Um, don't get carried away. Be realistic when you start dating this person, because otherwise some wool could be pulled over your eyes too. So sit back, stay cool, stay calm, stay collected. We already talked about not being too needy and keeping a little bit of a distance. Needy is usually really unattractive. So don't be needy. Don't be asking that they're going to call you. Don't ask them somewhere else on the first date. Oh, I'm going to an art opening next week. Do you want to go? Be very cautious about that. If you think that that's the right thing to do, uh, do whatever your heart tells you to do, but be very careful about moving too forward and appearing needy. Be really, really careful about that. Also, really take in consideration flirting. So just because you go out with someone and they're flirting with you like crazy, don't take that the wrong way, like, oh my gosh, this guy's madly in love with me. Just remember there are people out there, and actually I was married to one, that they're like professional flirters. So they flirt when they're ordering lunch, they flirt with the person at the bar, they love to flirt. So don't take that the wrong way. If he's really flirting with you, it can be fun, but don't get caught up in it and don't read something into it that may not be there. Just trying to protect you a little bit. It can be something and it could be absolutely nothing. Especially with men, they're very visual. They love to, um, do those kinds of things. It makes them feel really good, and really special. Um, so be very careful about the flirting. Also, the other thing I want you to remember is emailing and texting is not dating. Now, I know that sounds, it's not rocket science, but you would be surprised how many people say to me, we've been texting for 2 months. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? That means nothing. That's not a date. When you meet a guy or a woman, whatever your situation is, you don't know if they're married. You don't know if they're involved with someone. And if they're not willing to take the time and go on a date with you, it's not dating. It's flirting, it's games, it's playing, could be scamming, but it's not dating. How long do you wait for them to ask you out for another date? A couple of weeks. If they're traveling and they're super busy, maybe a month at the most. And that's because they have so much going on. But if they're emailing you and playing with you and flirting with you and you're not dating, lunch, dinner, go for a bike ride, go for a walk, go on a trip, whatever, that's not dating. They're playing with you, they're messing with you. So don't fall into that trap. I can't tell you how many women don't get centered and grounded before they start dating, and then somebody does this and they actually think that's okay, or they make excuses for some really, really, really bad behavior, and that's bad behavior. Okay, and um, that is not dating. I don't care what anybody says. Texting is not a date. It's texting. So I would recommend very little texting. If you go out to dinner and he buys you dinner, I would say, absolutely, thank you for dinner, blah, blah, blah. But you probably, if you're looking for a relationship, you probably want someone who's willing to pick up the phone and talk to you. If you're looking for sex or just to have fun, texting is probably absolutely fine. But remember, how they communicate is very, very much um, the way that they're wired and the way that they're centered. And if they can't pick up the phone and call you and they're home, is there something else going on? So those are warning signs. And I have a whole nother topic of warning signs when you're dating, stuff that you need to run the other way. Absolutely run the other way. Um, so don't fall for false excuses. Don't fall for that. I'm really busy. I've got work going on. Well, if you're that busy, then you don't have time to date. If you can't call me from your house, then what is the problem? Okay. Um, so those kinds of things are things that you want to be aware of. So the other thing I've heard of in the last year is the ghosting. Um, and ghosting sucks. Ghosting is when you go out with someone and you hit it off, and maybe you have one or two dates. Usually it's not a lot, and they disappear, right? And women do this too. It's not just men. And it could be anything from they don't have the guts to tell you there was someone else. There could be a lot of factors in ghosting. And women become very distraught over ghosting. And they try to figure out what happened. Should they have done something else? Should I have worn a blue top instead of an orange top? I mean, our little minds go crazy when someone just up and disappears. A, there's no closure. And B, we always kind of feel like it was something we did or something we said. So just know, coming from me, I'm not a professional therapist. I coach a lot of women. I have been out there in the dating world when I was not married. Ghosting has nothing to do with you. Ghosting is all about that person and what's going on with them. It could be they're emotionally unavailable. It could be that they're immature. It could be a whole bunch of different things. So here's my advice. If you are being ghosted or if it happens to you, you need to be very brave and walk away. And I don't care if this guy is a Greek god and has all the money in the world. Do not hang on. Do not text. Do not email. And if he shows up 6 months later, there needs to be some kind of explanation behind that, because obviously that person has stepped all over your boundaries, I'm assuming. So be uber careful about the ghosting and don't fall into trying to find them, fix them. They don't need fixed, right? It's not your job to fix them. Let them go, cut them loose, and know that that wasn't the right person for you. So it happens a lot more now with all of the internet activity and all the internet stuff. It's happening to a lot more women. My last suggestion for dating is, if it's not going well for you, um, you really might want to consider a um, a dating coach or somebody like that. There's also matchmakers out there which do some of the looking around for you. There's no shame in that. It takes a lot of pressure off of you. A dating coach, I'm not a dating coach, I'm a life coach. I do help women with dating if they are, in my program. But dating coaches specifically focus on what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and really try to help you. And also, your friends are good, but coaches are really there for you no matter what. And they will be very honest with you. And your friends might be like, making excuses or telling you things that really aren't true. So I don't know if that might be helpful for you, but if things are not going the way you want them to go, They will help you with your online profile. They'll help you with so many things. I do know a couple women that went through a dating coach and they said it was wonderful. So you might want to consider that. There are a lot of them all over the internet. So that is my last tip. And just remember that dating is all about you and what you decide and what you want. It's no longer about who shows up on your door. It's about what do you want? How are you going to get that into your life? And that's the decision that you need to make. And that's what you date around, not with just who shows up. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I've enjoyed this time together. I love talking about dating, even though I'm not dating, because it can be really fun and exciting. And it's a great time for you to get out of your shell if you're coming out of a relationship or out of a marriage, and change up your look and find new things to talk about and new things to do and go to maybe some new places. So be brave, be willing to be disappointed. It's just like having children. Hello, it's really not any different than having children. You have to be brave, you have to be resilient, and you have to be ready for disappointment. Okay, that's pretty much like being a mom. But anyway, be brave, be resilient, and put yourself out there. Remember, you're not going to meet anybody if you don't put yourself out there. So there are lots and lots of tips all over the internet about putting yourself out there and different ways that you can do it online, through your friends. There are lots and lots of different ways you can put yourself out there. But don't complain you're not dating if you're not doing anything to put yourself out there. That's a no bueno, okay? No, 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 no. That's not going to fly. Put yourself out there, be brave, be resilient, and give it a try and have fun. Have fun with it. And this is a fabulous time in your life, and I hope that you will enjoy it. All right. I will talk to you soon. Bye, loves.